Good morning and welcome to the new week. From the National Weather Service in Pocatello, I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith. This is your weather hazard briefing for Monday, April 10th. Some very similar points here to go over if you've been watching the briefing over this weekend. A few additional details here, though, as we start to iron out our next system moving into the region. First, that taste of summer continues. Those warm temperatures continuing right through Tuesday, so we have another couple days of that spring-like, summer-like weather across southeast Idaho. Some locations reaching 65 to 70 degrees for high temperatures. And once again, we'll go over that graphically day by day here in just a moment. Of course, with warm temperatures comes a response from our snowpack. So ripening snow, melting, runoff, a little bit of localized flooding is expected to continue, especially at lower elevations. As we've been saying for the past couple days, this is not expected to be any sort of major widespread flood event. We're very lucky about that. The duration of the warmth is fairly short. We don't have heavy precipitation coming in. Do have a couple mornings where some temperatures will stay above freezing, though, for lows, which certainly will support some of that runoff. In particular, we do have some sheet flooding that's affecting some homes and roads in south central Jefferson County. We do have a flood warning out for that. The response on our main stem rivers, though, will be fairly modest this go around. We're still just a little early in our season this year to see a lot of action on the larger main stem rivers, again, particularly with the short duration of this warmth. And those responses on those rivers and the peaks on the rivers will lag behind the warm temperatures. I'll show you a couple hydrograph forecasts here in just a moment. Finally, next storm system still forecast to arrive Tuesday. That hasn't changed. But Tuesday itself is actually trending drier in the forecast for most of the forecast area. Windy across the central mountains, maybe a few rain and snow showers up across portions of the northern forecast area. We're talking central mountains, possibly up into Fremont County, maybe down toward the Teton Valley. But for most of us, we're going to tap into that final day of warm temperatures with even a mix of sun and clouds again during the day on Tuesday. Temperatures do progressively cool through the rest of the week as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. And this general storm system looks to stick around for a few days. May not be until next weekend when we see high pressure and a warming trend return to southeast Idaho. Breaking it all down here over the next 5 days by geographic area on our weather risk outlook, we're still holding yellow, generally minor risk for all these weather elements. It's a little bit busy here across the region, but generally, other than being focused on that increased melting and runoff due to the warm temperatures, the wind will probably be one of the better impacts here for some areas as we go into Tuesday. That'll include the Lost River area, the Sawtooth area, Lemhi County, Chalice, Willow Creek Summit, possibly impacted by some of those stronger winds. Certainly breezy region-wide on Tuesday, and you can see some of that those breezy conditions start to work in later this afternoon and this evening for portions of the Snake Plain, the Eastern Magic Valley, South Hills, Lost River area, again, a lot of the Central Mountains, starting to pick up this afternoon and this evening. We've cut back a little bit on the precipitation tomorrow. Like I said, unless you're located in the Central Mountains or maybe the Northeast Highlands up toward Fremont County and the Teton Valley, we're probably going to hold dry for our final warm day on Tuesday. So that's certainly good news for many of you who are enjoying the spring-like weather. Wednesday, a little bit of breeziness continues in a few spots, but otherwise rain and snow showers dominating across the region. That continues Thursday as well. You can see less rain, more snow creeping into our terminology here as those temperatures cool. Friday, not quite shutting it down yet. Snow showers expected just about everywhere outside of maybe the Eastern Magic Valley, holding dry as we go through actually Thursday and Friday with this system. Again, right now, we're not generally seeing big signals for heavy precipitation. So that's certainly good news as far as keeping that flooding in check, that we're not looking at really heavy rainfall or snowfall amounts. That'll help the rivers out as well. And with those cooler temperatures trending Wednesday into Thursday into Friday, that is going to slow down our runoff, help stabilize our snowpack a little bit. All of this working out really quite well. This is really what we like to see this time of year, where we can dart into these periods of warmer temperatures without the heavy precipitation and without long duration high temperatures, so that we can start to chip away at some of that snowpack. So yes, some localized flooding, but overall big picture not looking bad at all. Satellite loop this morning, probably the clearest we've seen it here the past few days. There will be some high clouds drifting through from time to time over the next several days. It shouldn't be terribly impactful for you. There is precipitation with some of this, particularly as you go up toward northern Idaho here over the next day or two, but quite a bit of sunshine out there with our warm temperatures here for the next couple days. Watches, warnings, and advisories this morning, very similar to what we reported to you over the weekend. That flood watch continues in northern Nevada. We still do not have a flood watch out here locally in our southeast Idaho forecast area because, again, forecast is playing out quite nicely with our expectation that any flooding will be quite isolated and localized here in the next few days. You can see that flood warning that's in effect for south central Jefferson County, particularly west of I-15. Quite a bit of sheet flooding going on there with some runoff off the buttes located just to the west of that. There is flooding on some roads and affecting a few homes in that area. And we're in contact with the emergency manager up there, and we do encourage everyone do not drive through flooded roadways. Finally, that wind coming in on Tuesday continues a high wind watch here as you go over the border into southwest Montana. Wind advisories have been issued for Lemhi County out of the Missoula Weather Service office and now into our central mountains. If you happen to be heading up to the north of Arco, particularly north of Mackey, Chalice area, Willow Creek Summit, we are expecting some wind up that direction. I'll show you that here in just a moment. Stepping through temperatures, here's your low temperatures this morning here on the right. Lower elevation population centers starting to not recover below freezing for low temperature readings, particularly here in the south central and southwest portions of the forecast area. So certainly going to continue to support that runoff. High temperatures over here on the right, gaining even a few degrees over yesterday. Mid 60s for much of the Snake Plains, 60 all the way up to Rexburg, 50s for Driggs and Island Park, 60s all the way up into Chalice and Stanley, and 70s once again across the eastern Magic Valley, possibly making it into Burley by this afternoon. Tuesday, we're going to continue that general trend. You can notice the low temperatures even a bit warmer here. So decent outside of some of the mountain peaks here, decent chunk of our forecast area, not quite making it back down to freezing Tuesday morning. Again, that just means that we're going to continue to see good conditions for runoff of the melting snowpack and warm temperatures, again, reaching the mid 50s to even 70 for high temperatures Tuesday afternoon. Here's a first look at those winds that we are expecting. Our wind advisory for the Central Mountains or portions of the Central Mountains is out from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesday. You can see anywhere where you're getting yellow or warmer in your colors. That's wind gusts of 30 or better. Over here on the left is sustained winds. So that's sustained winds of 30 or better, 20 or better, 20 or higher here across most of the rest of the forecast area. And then over here on the right, we have wind gusts. Gusts of 40 to 50 are expected up across the advisory area. Again, that'll include places like Mackey, Chalice, Willow Creek Summit, Salmon, Lemhi County. And then across the rest of the region, wind gusts generally on the order of about 25 to 30, maybe 35 or so, generally out of the south-southwest across the region. Wednesday, we start to cool, and we see increasing chances for those rain and snow showers region-wide. Over here on the right are your high temperatures now backing off into the 40s in mountain regions and 50s at lower elevations. Thursday, we continue that cooling trend. Low temperatures here on the left, getting down into the 20s for most of southeast Idaho. Very few places staying above freezing. And then over here on the right for high temperatures, solidly in the 40s, if not some 30s for high temperatures with rain and snow showers continuing. Take a look at a couple spots on the rivers. Now, overall, the river response is fairly modest with this first warm-up of the year. That's good news. Two spots we're watching. First is the Portneuf River. This is the latest forecast for Topaz as you head over toward Lava Hot Springs. The blue line is where the river has been. The dotted purple line here is the forecast. And you can see by the time we get out into Wednesday night, we may peak along that river very close to what we call action stage. That's bank full conditions. So certainly getting a little high there. As we go downstream into the Pocatello area, the latest forecast update does reach bank full or action stage here in the Pocatello area. That's mostly on Thursday. So again, we're lagging with that river response a little bit behind the warm temperatures, which makes sense because the runoff has to make it into those rivers. Not currently expecting any more significant flood problems out of that, but very cold water running high. So Stay out of the water. Watch out for children who might be playing near the water. And the Bear River, another spot that we're watching, particularly down toward the Idaho-Utah state line. The forecast does bring the river very close to bankful conditions by the time we get out into Thursday. Big reminder here, image that you see here on this graphic may not be that different from what we're actually seeing up in portions of Jefferson County, south central Jefferson County. In fact, we've received some pictures from that area. Remember, do not drive through flooded roadways. Turn around, don't drown. It's very hard to estimate accurately the depth of that water, and it only takes 12 inches of water, particularly moving water, to start floating or moving a small vehicle. People tend to underestimate the amount of water it actually takes to cause some problems. Also, very hard to tell what the road conditions are like. There may be erosion going on, or the roadbed may be compromised underneath the asphalt. As we've been doing the past couple days, here's just a few really basic flood preparedness and mitigation tips to try to get us through this first warm spell successfully. Remember to clear snow, ice, and debris away from culverts and other flow paths to allow that runoff to progress. Again, we want to help things flow well, particularly away from our buildings and our infrastructure. Make sure your storm drains are nice and clear. Consider moving deep snow away from the foundations of buildings, particularly if you deal with some seepage or some flooding this time of year for basements or first floors. Watch out for equipment and livestock that may be in poorly drained or low-lying areas. If they're going to start flooding a little bit, might want to try to move those out of the way. Again, don't drive through flooded roadways, and continue to monitor for any watches, warnings, or advisories that we need to issue. Again, we do have that one flood warning out in Jefferson County. That's what we're looking at for the next few days. Quite a bit going on, but luckily for most of us, not terribly impactful, but certainly stay tuned as we continue to monitor everything. Of course, we're here 24/7 if you have questions, comments, or concerns. Everyone have a great week.